Welcome back to Dynamics. Okay, so technically this is going to be a political video. If that's not something you're interested in, no worries. Have a good day. But really, it's about taxes. Just a couple of. I want to try to do brief, like shorter videos. So I may do a couple of different videos on taxes, but this is something that kind of came up that I thought was a really, like, came to my mind. Um, Taxes. I am, and we'll keep this portion brief because I've done videos on this, and I probably will do longer videos on it again at some point. I'm opposed to income taxes. I don't think that those are the right way to be taxing our society. I just think that we could go to zero income tax, and there's ways to do that. But as of right now, we have income taxes. I believe a flat income tax would be the smartest way to go. But as of right now, we don't have a flat income tax. So I am thinking of solutions of what we could do in the current system as opposed to revamping the system. And I do love the idea of revamping the system. Keep that in mind. But if we're not going to, there is another issue that keeps coming up that I won't don't want to get in the weeds too much about, because I could do a whole video on that. But reparations. Reparations is something that has been talked about since the Civil War, right? And without getting into the weeds of how I feel about that, especially as a white man whose family didn't come here until after the Civil War, you know, I have definite views on that. But let's say, let's just say that reparations is a extremely popular issue, and that the country wanted to move forward with finally resolving that issue. One of the things that I think that could be done, and I actually don't think I would be completely opposed to this. I think this is something that could be within my wheelhouse. Oh, here comes my dog. Hi, Bruce. Oh, they can't see you. They can't see you. You're not up here. All right. Okay, buddy. Go lay down. Go lay down. All right. So, is instead of doing like another quote unquote welfare program, it wouldn't be welfare. It would be like a stimulus, almost like a giving people of certain backgrounds that maybe they can verify that their families did experience this, that sort of thing. They could get a break on their income taxes, so they wouldn't owe taxes up until the benefit of however much in taxes, so much that they will probably never reach that point unless they make a lot of money. So let's say $1 million, right? Just throwing out a number, not to say that that's the right number. But every person who can verify that their families were the victim of slavery would get a tax credit that is not refundable, is a non-refundable tax credit that would basically zero out their tax each year until they get the full benefit of $1 million, something like that. I think that's an interesting like thought experiment, something just to consider. And I don't know, it just came to my mind. It was just something that I thought was interesting. Maybe it's been talked about before. It doesn't necessarily satisfy the complete idea of reparations, but it also, doesn't resolve the issues that people have with the whole concept of reparations. So, no one is completely happy, but it would kind of maybe resolve the issue. It doesn't help everybody, but it's an interesting idea. What do you think about it? Another thing, and so that I don't just talk about that, labor for taxes. I think there's been civilizations throughout history. I think maybe some of the uh, natives from Mexico during ancient times, maybe South America. I can't quite remember what area they were from. They had this idea that as your tax for living in the society, it wasn't like an income tax where you paid money. you had to do some labor for the benefit of society. So it was like a culture that had like bridges, these like long extension bridges. And so your tax for being a part of the society and being able to use these bridges is that you had to dedicate your time and labor, at certain points to repair or to maintain the bridges. Seems interesting to me. Obviously, that wouldn't, in this country, that wouldn't be everybody, but maybe it could be a voluntary thing. So, say you have a tax due at the end of the year and you owe $5,000 in taxes. We'll just throw out a number. And so you would then also be able to do this labor, government sponsored labor. And it wouldn't necessarily always have to be manual labor. Maybe, let's just throw out an accountant, right? You're an accountant in your professional life. And so you do some additional time of helping, with accounting or bookkeeping or something for the government, right? That would assist the government and would be you repaying, or maybe you are a manual laborer or you do road work or something like that, and you could give your labor working on roads, filling potholes, those sorts of things. Seems like an interesting way around completely getting rid of taxes, but also giving options for people who are really vehemently opposed to taxes. Because when you pay taxes, your money goes into the general fund. You could be funding wars, you could be funding other things that you disagree with. And so, this is something that you could do where it be your labor would be benefiting the community, that sort of thing. And it could be a write off against your taxes. Just some ideas, thinking outside of the box of some things that you could do that would satisfy those who are opposed to the taxes, or maybe you don't have the money to pay your taxes, and instead of going into collections and dealing with debt to the government and dealing with penalties and interest and that sort of thing, you would have this contract, or you would agree to these terms to do some sort of labor for them. I don't know. It's an interesting concept. What do you guys think about some of those outside the box? What are some ideas you have where people could, negate their tax liabilities through different means? What do you think about it? Let me know what you think in the comments. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.